Even though Katie had everything a young girl could ask for, she still felt that something was missing from her life. After that, she traveled across the seas, and 13 black females were subsequently discovered in this woman's home. You'll be astounded to learn why this is happening. Welcome to USA Stories channel. Do not forget to subscribe and activate the bell button to receive all new updates. Now let's go to the story. At 18, Katie had achieved the things many young women aspire to. She dated the cutest boys in school, was president of her senior class, the homecoming queen, and she even drove a convertible. Her parents were the most encouraging and pushed her to her maximum. When the narrative comes to a close, you might be wondering how someone who had the finest life could have ended up in a beautiful nation when there are many children living in destitution and misery. Before Katie had finished high school, she had dreams of accomplishing great things for God and people. Her wants became more and more pressing in her heart with every day until she was unable to ignore them. She then confided in her parents about her wish to work as a missionary. By the conclusion of her senior year, Katie started looking into missions in India and Africa. For a long while, nothing worked out. Subsequently, in December 2006, she received a call from an orphanage in Uganda, requesting her to teach kindergarten. Her dream was granted at last. She had to convince her parents to let her go on the 3-week vacation, even though they wouldn't entertain the idea at first. Her mother accompanied her on the trip. Katie believed she belonged in Uganda the moment her feet touched the soil. She had a homey feeling. Her affluent American lifestyle was irrelevant. All she desired was to make one child happy at a time. Her eyes were open to the life she desired throughout the 3-week journey. She thus knew that once she was back in the United States, she would stop at nothing to return to Uganda. And by weird, I mean things from college, which she intended to return to in 2008. Katie begged her parents to let her return to Uganda once she got back, and they grudgingly agreed, as long as she would only be there for 9 months before going to college the next year. So Katie went back to Uganda for the second time in the summer of 2007. She knew she wanted to do great things and was willing to put in whatever it took to get there, even in the absence of a strategy or a clear direction. She continued to teach the children while she was there, and this quickly produced something amazing. After school one day, Katie went to the house of 2 7-year-old twins. Their 4 elder siblings were living at home since they were unable to pay for their tuition when she arrived, which surprised her. Though she knew that 75% of the children in Jinja, Uganda were in a similar circumstance, Katie's heart was broken to see this child so close. She could see the children's longing for a better life in their eyes. If kids were denied access to school, she also worried about what would become of them. Then she realized they would just keep living in abject poverty. She felt deep down that she could begin by assisting these children, even though she knew she couldn't transform the lives of all the children in Uganda. She so bought the uniforms and paid their expenses. It was heartbreaking the first day she met them in school. They appeared to be prepared to face the world. She reflected on the many ambitions that had been dashed just because some children weren't given the proper opportunity. Her enthusiasm then increased, and she began to ask herself, why 4? Why not another 150 or even 10 children? So she used an internet cafe in Uganda to contact her parents and let them know what she was planning. Following several months of perseverance, hard work, and support from friends and family, Katie founded Amazima Ministries International, a nonprofit. Katie had just 10 children when it initially started, and she provided for their food and educational expenses. However, friends and relatives stepped in to support her after learning about the way she was changing lives in Uganda. Thus, the number of children she assisted increased from 10 to 40, then to 150, and it is still growing today. After just 9 months, Katie had to keep her half of the agreement and go back to the United States to finish her undergraduate studies. She was caught off guard and had a lot on her plate. What about the children that were under her charge? How was she going to abandon the organization? She was quite distressed. Still, she followed through on her intention to go back to the US and try her hand at college, but she realized after only a semester that it wasn't what she desired. Her body would not allow her to continue living her life. Her parents allowed her to follow the road that God had predetermined for her, leaving America and her soul in Uganda when they realized how much she wanted to be in Uganda. Katie joyfully made her way back to her cherished home of Uganda and the children who had been anticipating her arrival. After arriving, she increased the scope of her charitable activity with Amazima, which translates to truth in the local Luganda tongue. She started the Masses Feeding Program in Uganda. The initiative attracted American contributors to feed over 1,000 children on weekdays, as well as to provide community health initiatives and assist over 400 children in attending school. However, Katie's deeds went beyond just starting this service. One night during this time, something happened that signaled the start of the life that Katie would grow to adore. That January 2008 evening, 3 young AIDS orphans were crushed by the collapse of a mud home across the street from the orphanage due to a downpour. Fortunately, none of them had suffered serious injuries, although Agnes, age 9, needed to be transported to the clinic for medical attention. Katie went with the girl, and Katie had a miserable night. How was the young girl making it through? In what ways was she managing her health? Why should a young child ever be exposed to these difficulties at such a young age? Lost in contemplation, Katie fought back tears of heat. The young girl next to Katie said something. Katie was dumbfounded when the 9-year-old asked, "Can I live with you?" You know, the tiny girl could only think about a cozy and caring home, even in the midst of anguish. Katie replied yes without a second's hesitation, her heart overflowing with lovely feelings. After failing to locate any family who would take the child and the 2 other girls in, Katie made the decision to find them a nice place to live. She so purchased a large home to accommodate them. For the following 18 months, additional females continued to arrive. The majority of them had been left behind. Some had even had to see their parents' AIDS-related demise. Patricia, the youngest, moved into the house when she was a newborn. Even though her mother had 11 other children, she was HIV positive. Katie couldn't turn her back on the girls since she knew there was nowhere else they could go. Katie's parents were concerned that their daughter was losing her prime and taking on excessive responsibilities as additional girls continued to arrive. However, only Katie was aware of the happiness and contentment her good deeds were bringing her. Over the years, Katie fostered 13 girls who lived with her. She would respond, "I don't know," whenever someone questioned why there were so many children. "These are the kids that God delivered to me." As a single mom, Katie did a fantastic job of raising the children over the years. But she didn't take long to find Majors, a male, to live with. He was in Uganda on a missionary tour when she first met him. In addition to having similar morals, what makes their love story so lovely is that they were raised in the same Franklin, Tennessee community. The couple were married in 2015 in a unique and intriguing manner. In place of her sisters or even friends, Katie had 13 stunning ladies by her side who she describes as living proof of God's love, faithfulness, and redemption. They still reside as a single large family, and Katie and her husband are still transforming lives as missionaries. Sometimes embarking on a trip doesn't need us to see the end of the road. Like Katie, all that counts is our level of bravery and resolve when we step onto the rails. What do you think of Katie quitting college to go to Uganda and live a different life? Please remember to subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our videos. If you enjoyed the tale, the next video that plays on your screen will probably move you too.